Okay, so I'm actually going to have the first hit of this treble sample just a lower in volume. And you can do this by just clicking on the first one. And if you go down to the bottom here, we've got the actual velocity of this note. And I'm just going to bring it back so that it plays a bit quieter. And we can just solo this. I need to do it on each note. Okay, so I'm just going to do a bit of a low pass on this treble sample. And if we just go to the filter control and let's bring this frequency back. I just want a sort of low rumble coming from it. And I'm just going to bring the volume back on it because I want it quite subtle as well in the mix. And then I'm just going to send it to a reverb unit. So I'm going to make a reverb unit up just to send this to it. I'll use return track A here. So let's rename it. Let's call it short reverb. And if we just go to Live's devices and grab a reverb unit and drop it in there, I'm just going to do a high pass cut on it and turn it up slightly. So this basically just does a cut to the incoming signal and only lets signals through that are above the sort of ratio that you set here. So I'm going to set it just around about 1000 Hertz just so I don't get a really low rumble coming through the reverb unit. And if I just send a bit of this, need to turn this dry wet control up to 100% because it's on a return track. I'm just going to bring the size of this room down just so we get a shorter reverb. And then I'm going to turn the decay time up. So you can hear there, that's just getting a longer tail on it. And then I'm going to turn this diffuse control up as well. So that the signal doesn't die out just as quick. Let's just add a bit of space to this and to give the tribal a bit of texture. And then I'm just going to send a bit of the clap sample to this as well. Okay, so that sounds good now. I've just sent about 30 dB, minus 30 dB of the clap and about minus 27 dB of the tribal sample to that reverb unit. I'm just going to put a compressor on these drums now just to tighten them up a bit. So if you just go to Live's devices and go to audio effects and grab a compressor and just drop it onto the drum group track. And if we just bring back the threshold and we don't want the compressor hitting it just as hard, so we're going to move the attack time back a bit and we're going to turn the ratio down a bit. And if we bring the release time down as well so that the compressor returns quicker. can hear this ratio control here pretty much decides how hard you want to squash this. We want a subtle one. We just want it to tighten up these drums, so we're going to keep it at about 1.9. And then we're just going to beef up the bottom end of it a bit, so it's going to drop in an EQ8. And I'm just going to cut the low end at about 40 Hertz. And if I just turn this Q up a bit, it'll add a bit of a boost. It'll cut around 40, but add a bit of a boost just above that. And if I just add another point, it's going to add a bit of a bell boost at around 80 Hertz. If I turn the Q up, that'll sharpen that. Move this frequency around until you hit the sort of sweet spot for the kick drum. So depending on what kick samples you've used, if you've used the ones in this, the sweet spot's sitting around about 80 Hertz. It just adds a bit of weight to the kick drum. Okay, so that's the main drum loop programmed in. In the next tutorial, we're going to bring in a percussion loop and cut it into slices and program that into the background as well.